Hey, what's happening, all you cutie patooties? Welcome to Red Eyes is here, and his voice doubled. The Titan Series practice scrims, and a little bit of apologies for the later start. For some reason, the emulator just wouldn't launch, which makes no sense. But we're going to be getting into it with kind of a ghetto-rigged overlay starting up at the beginning here. Kicking things off, match one, you already know Erangel, the first map ever introduced to the game, and it looks like we already got some confrontation between members of Rain Esports and their opponents in. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, it looks to be ZeroFox. I'm going to get a look-see at what ZeroFox is actually doing here. And as I am a little bit late to the start here, we've got a ton of heavy hitters coming to the board today. We got X-Force, 02, Dauntless, Next Element, Zombie Boys, Rain, Sailing, straight out of Nepal, Manic, Empreror, almost there, Absolute Pain, Masters, ZeroFox, Team Aces, and Xtreme Slayers. And it looks like Rain kind of thrown out of the frying pan and into the fire, not able to catch much of a break here. Let me go ahead and get myself off of this screen. And, yeah, it does look like EBI has been knocked, leaving them down to a three-piece as the thirst comes quick. It's down to Wang, Bot, and Bama Boy. Probably not anyone to contest with at this point. And they do have a little bit of a ways to work themselves northbound into this new zone. So probably going to be prioritizing that. And as you can see, looks like they might have a little bit of trouble brewing if they do so choose to cross that bridge. Looks like it would be opponents in straight out of Nepal that they might have to keep an eye out for. Get my highlighter as well. So where would the next bit of confrontation be? Well, the entire western half of the zone is basically up for grabs, meaning that we are due, if we're not seeing a lot of rotations out utilizing that western coast, that we might be due for some more mid-game confrontation. But already we can see Dauntless closing in on members of, it looks to be Absolute Pain, and this could be a lot of trouble for Absolute Pain if their performance is a repetition of day before yesterday. Definitely having a tough time finding that. I'm very well aware that that sound was super loud. Okay, and I'm gonna go ahead and push this live elsewhere as well. Yep. Looks like Dauntless is having at it. Terrora preparing a utility, trying to hold off the of Absolute Pain. And not really having too much trouble. Matter of fact, they got Hollow down to basically nothing, and that is that. Quick work, so to speak. Again, apologies for the late start. You guys kind of had to last minute Frankenstein something together here to make this work. Not really sure what is going on with that emulator, but should have it potentially back up maybe even before the end of the stream. Ideally. We'll see. Okay, so yeah, we got a little bit of congestion forming around the center part of this new zone. That would be between 02 and the opposition in Masters Esports. We're going to switch our attention to 02 here, getting eyes on Coops for just a brief moment. Looks like he's a little bit of a ways away from his teammates, and that's kind of to be somewhat expected. A team that's this comfortable in their ones, spreading out and trying to make the most out of this playing field. I don't know why. There's a lot of weird things happening today, ladies and gentlemen. Take a look at this. When I remove the teams, there's just a random black horizontal line here. Not really sure what that is. But we'll just add it to the list of technical anomalies for the day. We're going to go on to the eastern side, I guess the eastern edge of this new zone. We're straight out of Nepal, playing a bit reserved here. Looks like they're going to bow away from members of Xtreme Slayers. They still have members of Team 11 just above them, and that is, of course, members of Manic. But will that amount to an actual confrontation? Given how slow the start of this match has been, it's kind of up in the air. And just going to get a couple things set up here. Yep, we do have a knock. It looks to be 0-2 getting a knock on members of Masters. And Juancho quick to add on to it, running him over like a bowling ball. And could be a bit of trouble brewing here in the shape and form of Dauntless coming in for a potential third party from behind here, holding that little hill crest, just using that geographical cover where it's afforded to them. Juancho and Coops holding down the buildings themselves, all the while their teammate Baton is down. Panda is already brought down to the thirst zone, and that is going to bring them down to half their starting lineup, a two-piece of Juancho and Coops, but still two formidable names not to be underestimated by any means. Straight out of Nepal, getting a couple elims on the board right there and then. Looks like it didn't come without some risk. ASOP, pardon me, being knocked in the process, but likely to get revived before any immediate danger. So, I guess that would lead the closest thing to a fight to be what is dissipating right before our eyes on this map here between Dauntless, 0-2, and Masters. Means we might be due for a bit of waiting time here. And still, interestingly enough, no one occupying the entire western half of zone. Okay, let me set this up live. Coop single tapping that M4. PUBG Mobile. Titan. Come on, yeah. This feels like 2021 for me, trying to stream this from my iPad. Titan Pro Scrims. Oh, I'll just say Titan Scrims. Alright, be right back. Okay. Now we are actually pushed live on all platforms and ready to focus and dial in. Let's lock it in for potentially an altercation coming on the eastern half of the zone. It would be members of Straight Out of Nepal and their opposition in Xtreme Slayers. I'm betting a whole lot of waiting potentially. Wolf could be closing in on Brazy though. He does catch a little wind of him. And aiming outwards, 4x M4 ready. If you can just catch a line of sight. No such luck given. Looks like it's going to be a little bit of scouting while his teammates next try to draw him out, maybe even bait him with that vehicle. Couple stray bullets there taking out his... I thought I was taking out one of his tires. I'm wrong. I'm tripping about that. But he's a four-tired... vehicle riding and son of a gun. I don't know what. He didn't take a lick of damage. Anywho, that means this is going to be a pretty action-packed in-game just due to how passive it's been up until this point. We're already at About only a minute and a half left of stage 3. Dauntless getting some extra knocks there in the distance, and they're already sitting pretty steady here at 6 elims, and 4 of those 6 elims go to Hope alone. This is a pretty well-rounded effort between the 3 of those 4 members, and it could be a bit of trouble brewing for Empreror, as they are kind of being surrounded on each side by the all the while Hope keeping his focus on the enemies passing by, putting out some attempted spray shots, not a lick of damage connecting, but not overly concerned. Just really trying to, if anything, keep the pressure on the opposition, let them know you're not going to drive by without getting shot at the very least. But where is this next zone going to shift with only maybe Watertown, Ruins, and Pachinki afforded in this new zone? It's going to be a battle for real estate, and I definitely think that the high ground, the somewhat of a mountaintop we can call it, might be the best route, but it would be prime real estate that is vulnerable from most angles too. So between that and choosing between Pachinki or Ruins, it's kind of up in the air. I do see members of Team 16. This is going to be ZeroFoxGiven. Serums just dropped down to the prone zone, and will he be like to be revived? Does not seem so, as the opposition in straight out of Nepal is wasting no moments. We got Temps here cooking up a retaliatory nade, trying to hold off this 3-piece at bay, but not keeping wind of Nexus, their outlier, and no need for Nexus, as the big bad wolf puffs and Temps is brought down to the prone zone and out of this match. Back to the lobby you go. That's going to put so much pressure here on Keeps and Kitty Lover here, the final 2 members here of ZeroFox, to try to carry on the team's name and at least acquire some placement points, maybe a spare third-party elim point when afforded to them if possible. Best case scenario, it's damage reduction is kind of the name of the game for them from this point out. So getting eyes on the straight out of Nepal is happening to them, I should say. I was going to say what they're doing, but they've been reduced down to just Nexus in just a few moments as Rain Esports reigns in for a third party, and Bot coming in with the high ground and a shotgun and making quick work of it. And just like that, Rain Esports working their way up to 4 elims, but boy, to say it came without a price would be a lie. They lost Lil Wang. Bama Boys almost eliminated, but going to carry on. They're moving forward as a 2-piece. Best they can do at this point. And it looks like Seabass here. Oh, pardon me, not Seabass. It's going to be... Well, it was at one point someone over there from Team 18. The members' last hope of Xtreme Slayers just kind of thwarted and removed from the equation before I could even switch over. So we're down to 10 teams spread across 25 people. Pretty quick in-game here, and only a sliver of Pachinki afforded here. Maybe a little bit more in the sliver, but you get it. Guys, how's the audio? Is the mic okay next to the game sound? Alright, we got some stray shots off in the distance. Being logged in here. Alright, yep, we are hearing the shots outbound from Dauntless, just keeping the pressure on members of 0-2. As you can see, Coops still 0-2, 0 elims, 2 players up. Kind of ironic living up to that name there. But we got Dauntless closing in on the KOOPS, and this could spell trouble. I mean, he might be one of the best players in North America, but up against the whole 4-piece, it's going to be tough. But Coops doing quick work with the S12, but the revenge dish quicker, and just like that, he is eliminated, leaving Huacho as the final hope here for 0-2. Coops able to put up one quick knock there, not able to acquire any thirst, so Huacho, for pretty obvious reasons, not out there eager to try to acquire that thirst either. Gonna have to make his final stand here, and enshrouding himself in what bits of utility cover he can. He's gonna do it with a DBS. Listen, if you're gonna have even a sliver of hope of taking on a 3-piece or a 4-piece just on your own here in this situation, well, you probably don't want to get caster cursed. All right, we're hearing shots. It's gonna be actually members of NEX, Next Esports. Oh, pardon me, Next Element, putting a couple licks of damage and even a knock there on members of Dauntless. Marvin, I believe, was the one who acquired it. All the while, we got a couple altercations brewing all at once, as to be expected, with these small late-game zones with plenty of players left on the field. Kind of has to happen one way or the other. If you're not going to take the fights on earlier, they're going to be brought to you. All right, Manic Vortex adding on to the work his teammates were doing elsewhere with a knock of his own and trying to keep the pressure on the remnants of Next Element, putting some warning shots outwards towards Rare. Rare utilizing that vehicle cover, which is fairly limited too. It's still a risky move in that light, but Manic not going to waste time as Nyx pushes up to his own death. That was smooth, baby. Now it's going to leave Vortex and Hod here, and I think they know one strategy to not do. I said it too soon as Hod pushes right up, shot down to below half health here, finding himself vulnerable from numerous angles. He's got Next Element close by, and even behind them, Dauntless Aurora, pardon me. We're going to get our eyes up in the sky here for just a brief moment. And Marvin with a monster nade to get the thirst onto Nyx just like that. Vortex and Hod of Manic remain. XP3 shifting a rotation flank behind Marvin and actually probably just trying to reunite with his teammates. Could have had a real opportunity, but it would have been a vulnerable open field one, and very likely could have ultimately backfired. Understandable why he kept the rotation. We got almost there, or almost there, correct. We got almost Barry. He's almost at Barry, but not quite. Barry trying to get Wiz back up and about, putting a little bit of smoke cover down, but you can hear trouble on the hilltop. It's Dauntless, but luckily a little unintentional assistance, and as I say it, caster cursing Rain Esports back down to the prone zone and back to the lobby. I was going to say unintentional assistance, but no, it's a third party. Now Marvin of Next Element having to make his final stand as the remnants of Manic swarm upon him. It's Vortex with a DBS quick work. Back to lobby you go. So, and I apologize, it actually looks like Rain Esports still has 2 members up and about. And better yet, these 2 members are responsible for 5 of the team's 6 eliminations. These are some heavy hitters. While it might be a 2-piece, it's a 2-piece that's been putting in work, so you don't want to underestimate them. However, finding themselves just outside the zone, riding that blue zone edge, they have only a matter of seconds before it starts closing in, and no choice but to work their way in. It's going to be a risky rotation inbound towards a fight that they're probably going to just be forced into one way or the other. Stuck in between a rock and a hard place is an understatement, because they've got members of Emperor on one side, Dauntless on another, and Manic on another. They are the center point of a love triangle here, and that is not where they want to be. Bama boys able to get a little bit of health back up here after that nade crashes down upon him. Unintentional assistance for Rain Esports comes from Emperor as Nameless putting the bullets out, getting a knock on Claws, and this is going to put a real pressure factor on the boys in Dauntless. We got Claws down and XP3 with no time to really stick any revives here, having to make his final stand as Bama Boys comes in guns a-blazing, and by guns you know what I mean, DBSs only. It's the land of DBSs in pro esports. We got Hod of Manic being quickly becoming the last hope for the team as Vortex is shot down, and Nameless making a name for himself right there and then as the Emperor of this end zone, getting the finish on him, letting these kills just present themselves to him, and now Emperor finds themselves in a 2v2, a fair fight here with Rain Esports to end round 1. Bot and Bama boys, Lil Fox and Nameless. A lot of nades being thrown out there, not quite close enough in proximity, but Rain wasting no time, coming in with a quick inbound, aggressive push forward, and Nameless brought down with a DBS. It's a battle of DBS shots, but coming up to keep the pressure on Foxer, we're going to have the final hope here for Emperor. Lil Fox putting a nade outbound, but not gonna even explode before he is eliminated, and just like that, that is the end of round 1, and an impressive performance, no doubt, by Rain Esports. For a brief moment, I thought that they had been eliminated already, and called it out there maybe just 2 or 3 minutes ago. Nope, they still had their 2 heaviest hitters ready and waiting to go, and boy, Rain Esports setting the tone here, round 1 for the day, putting up an impressive first place finish with 11 elims to add on to that chicken dinner. Nicely done. Emperor, awesome performance on their end as well. Much more elimination intensive than what we saw 2 days ago. But on top of that, those 12 elims that they have here are all between Lil Fox and Nameless. 12 elims between 2 players is a heavy backpack to carry, but hey, add that on to your silver medal. Manic coming in 3rd place with 3, entering as a 3-piece, not bad. Dauntless in 4th this time around, and doing so with a healthy 10 elims to add to their name. Almost there, coming in 5th, but with only 2 elims. Going to be tough to make up for that, but at least they got some placement points to help them along the way. Next, Element coming in 6th with 1. We got Kitty Lover. Oh yeah, this is going to be members of ZeroFox in 7th with 1 elim to Kitty. We got members of Sailing Esports in 8th with 3. Coming in 9th, it's MX Manic. Is that Manic? No, it's not. MX. If I don't remember now, it's Masters Esports. That's right. Masters Esports in 9th with 4. 0-2. Really surprisingly underwhelming performance here in round 1. 10th place, 1 elim to Juancho. Xtreme Slayers in 11th with 0. Straight out of Nepal in 12th with 6. X-Force in 13th with a big onion. Absolute Pain hitting absolute 0. Aces getting 2 in 15th. And Zombie Boys in 16th with 1 from Bloody. All right, y'all, stick around. We're going to be back at you with round 2 of 4 in just a few short moments. Stick around. We'll be back soon with more Titan Series practice scrims. Be back soon. Alrighty, y'all. Welcome back to round... Okay, I guess I gotta move that way on up. Round 2 of the PUBG Mobile Titan Series practice scrims. Kicking round 2 off with the wide open desert of Myanmar. Some destruction in the desert, and we already got a little congestion here between Dauntless and the opposition in what looks to be sailing esports. So we're going to keep a close eye on that, just checking the lay of the land. Does look like we got a lot of congestion to the north of this zone here. As you can see, this first zone shift, kind of a nightmare for the participants, leaving well, more than 50% of this zone in water, absolutely limiting the participants' real estates, meaning we could be due for some earlier action and maybe some early shifts for prime real estate. But already we are having some action go down between almost there and their opponents in looks to be Next Element. With a takedown on Next Element and a quick thirst to follow belonging to Frozen, Meowie adding onto it with a knock on Rare, with what I believe said was a Vector? No, must have been a QBZ. Oh wait, it was Meowie. It was Meowie. That's right. UMP M4 combo. Meowie able to bring them up to 2 elims, but I don't think much is going to happen after that, so we're going to keep our attention here between Sailing Esports and Dauntless, just in case anything does happen between them. But as we know to be the case with a little destruction in the desert, it is an 8x8, just huge, wide open geography. So a lot of vulnerable angles here, a lot of sniper intensive opportunities. This is the kind of match where you need to be on guard for not just, you know, people around you, but people with high ground who might be 200, 300 meters away. But Next Element is down to Spider and Spider alone. And to make matters worse, Spider opens fire on a rotating team. Oh, goodness gracious, absolute pain. And Pain, given a freebie there, said, yeah, we'll take it. No problem. So, a little bit of downtime potentially. As you can see, if members of Absolute decide a northbound rotation, it wouldn't make much sense as they're outside of zone, but they do have threats behind them. Working their way down southbound, they have threats in front of them in the shape and form of Empreror, one of the top performing, well, in the top 2 performing teams. And to make matters even worse, the only other threat down there that they didn't need to worry about before getting to zone would be the first place team of round 1, Rain Esports. So talk about you know, that 2020 caster's vision telling them it's time to do a flank, wide flank rotation maybe. But we can see X-Force splitting up here. Freepoint taking an eastbound route all on his own here, rocking that Dumb and Dumber vehicle skin, and finding himself closing proximity between himself and a full squad of almost. RL, pretty darn good recoil control, but not much more that he can do from there. It looks like he was able to dish out a little bit of damage, maybe even 50% potentially, if I saw that correct, but not going to be able to add on to it without a line of sight. All the while, Hyman going off in on SL Sports. Seabass pulling that rotation, trying to close distance here, but taking some gunfire. His passenger seat rider, Junior here, minimal damage, but Novio knocked. And will he be able to have a little assistance here? Highman Live is clearly baiting this in the distance. Highman from Team Aces. Let's get a little eye up in the sky above the smoke here just to make sure we're not missing anything. And yep, the bullets are raining down, but that's not stopping Sailing Esports from really risking it on this revive. Vulnerable territory, and they only know of Hyman's location. location. They don't know about Avatar, Fadra, or Goblin. And the one guy they know about is enough, as he's able to get a knock right there and then with the 5.56 DMR, the Mini 14, and a little third-party opportunity presented. And it looks like X-Force may have came in there. Oh, that's on Absolute Pain in the distance. Well, we got two fights at once, ladies and gentlemen. We got Sailing Esports being pushed on by Team Aces, while X-Force faces off against Absolute Pain in the distance. But as our eyes are already here, we're going to keep our eyes where they're at. And if you're just now joining in, this is round 2 of 4 of the Titan Series Practice Scrims. Not to be confused with Challenger or Premier Leagues. This is just where they make sure they don't get rusty. Junior really in a world of hurt here. Not just with the zone chipping away at his health, but two members of Team Aces. To say that they are taking their sweet time with it is an understatement. It's a 2-1 split with Aces, and they're keeping the one as the guy close to the enemies. It almost seems like the opposite of how a 2-1 split would be expected. But Absolute Pain still having at it with Dauntless and actually retaliating with a knock on a Dauntless member there. Junior trying to make a little hellfire rain down here upon Avatar, down to about half health. All the while, little assisted shots from Seabass getting Sadra right down for the count. This is going to leave us here with a 3v3 scratch that, a 2v3 scratch that, a 2v1. Now it's Zendry and Junior versus Avatar. With eyes on Avatar, here we go. Throwing a Hail Mary nade as he's pushed on. Definitely not what he expected to happen there. A little more abrupt. I think he thought he had at least a second, but ultimately Zendry not laying off the heat for a single second, and quick work for him. Nicely done. Let's catch eyes on this altercation between... Oh, you know what? That's not X-Force. This is X-Force. X-Force and whoever they were up against almost there. It looks like that altercation is dissipated. X-Force still in very strong shape for Elims in a full 4-piece team as they work their way into this Stage 3 zone. Luckily for the participants, the Stage 3 zone has shifted inland from the water, giving them a little bit more room to wiggle here. And does seem like a similar strategy here between Manic and Straight Outta Nepal, trying to put their backs to the water and have just at least 90 degrees left to account for. Not having to have their backside, guarded means that they can give more attention to what's in front of them and allocate their resources most efficiently. But for a team like Masters Esports, kind of thrown right back into the thick of it here, they've got a full squad of 0-2 here. Oh, pardon me, not a full squad. Yes, a full squad, but more so hearing a 2-2 split. I don't even know if Masters Esports knows about 0-2's other members. Well, if they didn't know, they know now, because this has become a 2-1-1 split here, and really smart play here on 0-2. See, Trick, even while being pushed up on by Coops, can't really take the time to account for Coops' rotation as he's being fired off in the distance. Having to turn his back and try to defend himself gives Coop all the opportunity he needs to just scoop himself right up above the opposition with S18. But, you know what? A shotgun does not forgive, and it sounds the same in every language. Boom goes that, and Coops brought down as well. So, that's going to bring 0-2 down to 3 to Doran, Baton, and Juancho, and Doran does not disappoint. And goodness knows, to add on to the caster curses, as I commend Doran's push with that S12, the third party coming in perfectly timed from ZeroFox, and it's going to be Temps with the retaliatory takedown and saying, you know what, that is an easy Elim, I'll put that in the bag here. That's my third and the team's fifth. This is a ZeroFox performance that we have been waiting for. All right, no time to waste. X-Force getting fed up with the downtime, pushing themselves right up into the mix, almost there. We got 999 EBSing his way through them, but getting retaliated on pretty quick. Revenge is a dish served cold and fast, leaving Freepoint to carry on. Freepoint quick with the work, taking Frozen out of the equation, evening the odds a bit, and unfortunately, Fate taken down in the distance. Down to half their starting lineup. It's down to Remix and Freepoint alone. All the while, looks like Trick of Almost There able to kind of find his footing and start retaliating revenge on ZeroFox. So we are gonna actually we're gonna stay here. I want to see how they play this. Looks like Freepoint is leaving Remix to be eaten by the wolves here. Why is it not letting me switch? Remix and Force here up against Barry of Almost There. Barry with the S12 ready, outnumbered, outdone, still able to do it from the low ground. Barry absolutely laying a slaughterhouse of buckshots there and barely surviving, brought down to 10% health, but making a impressive final stand there, and nicely done to Almost There Barry, bringing himself up to 1 elimination, but bringing the team up to 3 and getting them just 2 slots away from making that placement point bracket. Great work on their end. And unfortunately for a caster curse to be thrown out so quick, Barry kind of driving out of the frying pan into the fire and getting closer and closer to the remnants of X-Force, and I don't think that would be the best idea in that situation. But aimed with baiting them, Barry leaving the knocked member of X-Force there to cry out for help, and he's just hunting and leaving just bait traps. Nicely done. This is impressive. And look at his health. Even less than before. Probably legitimately less than 10%. And still making his way towards what can only be described as the most vulnerable revive ever. But he wants to get Meowie back up. And we'll see if it can happen before this inevitable push from a ticked off and revenge-hungry Freepoint. Yeah, he does not have his eyes set on placement points. He has his eyes set on revenge. And that's going to note here, there is a little bit of a cash prize here, ladies and gentlemen, today. We got a $40 prize going to the first place team. We've also got, I believe there is a MVP prize. Oh, pardon me, $5 to the most kills, MVP top frag, and that's per map, and then a $15 prize for the team who wins the most maps. So lots of little opportunities here on the board here. Freepoint not really concerned with the prizes, more concerned with making sure Barry knows what end is up, and you might have gotten away with murder 3 times. Barry trying his best to escape the clutches of Freepoint. Freepoint putting up 4 shots, dishing Barry down to half health, but not able to finish the job, and we gotta tune out here because Zombie Boys are down to Aurora alone. Oh, pardon me. Yeah, Dauntless is down to Aurora alone up against Zombie Boys, and it's going to be quick work as, pardon me, was that Flicks is what we'll call him, coming in with the finish with the AK Glacier skin, Seastone Admiral. So now we're down to 7 teams spread across 18 people, and as you can see, 3 teams still sipping on that blue zone damage. We got Emperor's Lar working southbound and potentially right into a pool of trouble in the shape and form of Straight Outta Nepal. Sorry about that. Alright, well, the push on 3 point is kind of, what we'll say is not well planned, just full on aggro. And 3 point kind of a little bit more disciplined than that, and not going to be falling victim to any ridiculous hyper aggro pushes into the dead zone. He kind of waited for the right opportunity to strike, and that's just letting experience do the work for him there. Straight out in Nepal, up against Masters Esports, is Phoenix claiming the high ground, M4 in hand. A knock on Wolf leaves members of Straight Out in Nepal down to what I believe is a 3-piece, yep, of Leon, Ace, and Nexus. Leon claiming the side of the warehouse, Nexus and trying to work his way over to Sting. However, Phoenix and Masters Esports seem to have a little coin in their back pocket, a little trick left up their sleeve. And oh, these dad jokes are raining hard today because his name is Trick Dauntless. Anyone who knows about the PUBG Mobile NA scene knows this guy worked his way up the hard way through the Tier 2 scene over a long, very illustrious Tier 2 climb for him. And well-deservingly found his way into the pro bracket and really made a name for himself, basically from the get-go, entering into that pro scene. Now catching wind of X-Force's final hope, 3 point, putting some warning shots out there with a suppressor on that M4. We are down to 5 teams spread across 13 players here. It is about to really be destruction in the desert. This is going to be an interesting in-game zone with a couple different compounds and a couple different buildings available, and the edge of the zone affording some serious high ground and overwatch. This is one of those situations I like to, every time I see this kind of battle of choices, I always say, what is it going to be? What is the better positioning to have? The high ground, open landscape mountaintop versus low ground compound cover, and usually I'll go with the high ground, but in this case I'm thinking that the compound cover is going to be extremely clutch, at least until we see where that next zone shifts, just because that vulnerability from that mountaintop, if you're not on the opposite end of the hill crest, which it might be afforded to them on this zone, it's very slim chances of it being on the next one. I don't even think it is on this one, to be honest. So that would mean, if I'm right, that they're kind of open territory for the pickings, even from low ground, and that would be an opportunity for Straight Out in Nepal if they had taken notice. Interestingly enough, Straight Out in Nepal not utilizing the compound cover that I'm talking about. They've got another idea here for them, and as I say that, free point is a free point for Manic. And Manic not really letting their foot off the pedal here, now putting some shots down towards Zombie Boys. We're going to catch wind. Smiley puts out some retaliation towards their way, and now we are finding a lot of trouble for Manic as Hod finds himself in a peanut butter and Scrooge sandwich. He is the bologna meat in between Zombie Boys and the other white bread that is going to be Straight Out in Nepal. It's a battle for who gets to kill him first. Flicks coming up, Hob retaliating, but ooh, Nexus coming in with the third party, well-timed, well-placed, and maybe even an opportunity for a second third-party Elim kill. Was able to claim the knock that Hob gave. So now we are down to 3 teams, and Straight Out in Nepal, straight into the thick of it here with Zombie Boys. They've got a real choice to make with Carla down. Flicks desperately in need of meds and has not healed yet. Smiley kind of really, Smiley and Bloody are the final hopes in there. But Nexus coming in, guns ablazing after the knock on Leon. Nexus taken down. Ace, the final hope for what was going to be a sure thing for Straight Out in Nepal. And unfortunately, you know, these end games can be so imperative, and where the panic factor really can set in so easily, and a brief split-second mistake can be a team's undoing. And I think Straight Outta Nepal, for understandable reasons, did not want to be too hesitant, and so they're trying to get a unfortunately, in this case, patience can pay off in time. But Trick coming up here for the 1v1 against Trick, and Trick says, sit down. Nicely done, ladies and gentlemen. Any way you look at it, game over, as goodness knows, Masters Esports thanking their lucky stars for bringing Trick onto the team, responsible for 90% of the team's 10 elims. That is a very healthy first place chicken dinner on the tip of your tongue finish, and 10 elim points to add on to it. No one's complaining about a 20-point plus gain for one round alone. We got Zombie Boys working their way into silver and doing so pretty impressively with 9 elims to their name as well. It's going to be a nice gain for them. Straight Outta Nepal showing a lot of improvement, and I mean from day before yesterday. This is Straight Outta Nepal. I believe they placed pretty darn well last match too. I could be incorrect, but I think they did. And I think, you know, whoever gave them their locker room Wheaties pep talk is doing a good job here. We got a bronze medal third place finish with 4 elims, 3 of which go to Nexus. Manic in 4th with 3. X-Force snagging up 5th and doing so with 9. Got almost there. 6th place with 5. Empreror in 7th with 4. 8th place going to Dauntless with 1. We got Sailing Esports in 9th with 4. Rain in 10th with 1. ZeroFox. Hey, you know what? It might not be the placement that they were hoping for, but it's more elims, and I think that that's showing an improvement from what we saw from them 2 days ago. 0-2 woke up on the wrong side of the bed today. I don't know. Maybe just trying to get this event out of the way. But I don't think that they're taking it seriously. Obviously, you know, these are names that we know. We just know. It's context, I guess. Aces, 13th with 1 from High. And we got Absolute Pain in 14th with 2. Coming in last is Next Element, unfortunately for them, with a big fat onion in terms of kills. But ladies and gentlemen, stick around, as we'll be right back at you in just a few short moments with round 3 of 4 of the Titan Series practice scrims. Be back at you real soon. Alrighty, cuties, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. It ain't game over. It's round 3 of the Titan Series practice scrims. Round 3, a little rumble in the jungle. We're here in Sandhawk. Already Emperor getting a little bit dished on here. We're going to go tune in as they're already reduced down to a half their starting lineup. Down to Nameless and Cass, as Fox and Lar have already been taken out of the equation by none other than a ticked off Manic Esports. We got Kaz pushing forward to a 2-piece here with that UMP CQC Annihilator. Him for second here, and does get the quick takedown on one of them, Vortex, but gets a little bit tunnel visioned and focused too hard rather than preserving his bullets for the second fight that was inevitably coming his way. 0-2 kind of thrown right into the thick of it, having a really tough day today. And now here in the mix with ZeroFox. Normally, this would be a cakewalk for a team like 0-2. This is going to be something that, if anything, they would make an impulsive mistake just from underestimating. But, case in point, Juancho goes right for that window. Serums just waited for the count, and a little bit of discipline paying off for him. But sort of thrown out of the frying pan into the fire. He's got a lot more to worry about as he gets the flanked on Baton. Is he going to be able to catch him? Baton has no idea! Serum's just laying a slaughterhouse with the AK-47. Coops getting a retaliatory knock on Bot. Going to try to secure Juancho inside the building, but quick work with the DBS as Coops retaliates, leaving Kitty Lover 2-2-4 as the final hope here for ZeroFox. You better give some, Fox, because you're up against the best player in North America, debatedly. But the KWLPS is not going to be forgiven now. There's worse here. Where is Temps? Kitty is down for the count. Temps now the final hope. And getting the off angle for a thirst on an already knocked Juancho. I feel like that could have been an opportunity to, for sure, not give up your location and maybe catch Coops by surprise. Best case. But will it be a nade that Coops falls for? We'll see. Alright, the ACE AK-47 combo entirely reliant on that 7. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're just now tuning in, this is round 3 of 4 of the Titan Series practice scrims. Welcome in. Coops, I think he doesn't have any meds. Well, quick work. Coops running through and jumping through the window. Patience is a virtue, and cool and calm under pressure, even as the remainder of his team's eliminated. We still have no time to waste as Zombie Boys now going into the mix, and it looks like they are up against none other than the opposition of Sailing Esports, and Sailing putting some hurting in as Smiley and Carla are not, leaving Flicks and Bloody desperate to be some paramedics real fast. Novio with the high ground hilltop, but taken down to half health, using what little bits of geographical cover he can, getting that heal off, and maybe even using the hill crest to cover his flank. But is he bowing out? No, he is not. Able to breeze on over to the next warehouse, catch him with the off angle. Talk about tunnel vision. They're all falling victim at some point. Rain Esports looking strong as they send one of their dogs out onto Godwin, and it's going to be a quick work takedown here for Bama Boys, and well done in their realm here, because they had all 3 teammates hanging back but providing ample cover fire. Unfortunately, there is a high ground team above Bama who almost got the third party thirst, and that's actually not going to be a third party. It's going to be members of the rest of Zombie Boys, or pardon me, Team Aces. It is a third party. My bad. It's them zombies. All right, 999 is dead, and Spider got swatted as well. Remix, Fate, and Free Point. Scratch that. Free Point and Remix of X-Force remain here. Kind of swarming on the remainder of Next Element, which decided to, as a equal two-piece, split up, Rare hanging back with a low ground, not even really attempting to provide any cover fire. And that could actually be intentional and could be the right move if Freepoint doesn't know that Rare is there. And it actually, from his moving around, I don't think he does know. Pretty sure he doesn't. So we're going to switch our attention to Rare, see if he's able to make anything happen here. He's looking up at the sky. Legitimately, what are you doing, friend? Now, this is a meme right here, y'all. This is a meme. Ooh, you shouldn't have let me catch you getting memed. Oh my God. Squirrel. That's a clip. All right, let's go see actual action happening. Given how X-Force is playing this, I'm pretty sure they know that Rare is out here somewhere, but they might not know where. Doesn't seem to matter. I don't think Rare is even present at his screen. Maybe he is just to look up at the camera or look up at the sky and say, hey, God, I'm coming soon. Well, Rain is going bowling, and they're bowling in a vehicle, and it sounds like they just knocked it down, bringing themselves up to 7 eliminations, and still a 3-piece, looking really strong. This is the Rain Esports that we saw in round 1 for sure. All right, I know this is just ridiculous to go back here, but I'm just frustrated that they have not noticed. But understandably so. I mean, literally no one who actually would be at their tablet would have the self-restraint for this long and just be staring up at the sky. So I feel like, I can't even blame X-Force for not finding him here at all. I don't think I would either. Smiley being worked on here from none other than 999 from the safety of that rooftop. Beautiful location for numerous reasons. Plenty of distance between himself and Zombie Boys. If he's knocked, he's immediately out of the line of fire. But realistically, that is kind of a coin that flips both ways, because if he does secure a knock on Zombie Boys, I mean, potentially Smiley, he might be able to get a thirst if his shots are quick. And or maybe let's say he gets the knock with the first or second bullet of the chamber here, and then has a full clip left to just empty on him from the high ground, maybe through that window. But other than that, most of the time, probably not. Like if Flix gets knocked right here, potentially thirstable for a brief second before he's out of that line of fire. I mean, it's potential, but the odds of securing that thirst are low for sure. And it's one of those situations where, it's Sandhawk, so I don't really feel like the resources are going to be in scarcity. I feel like there's enough to go around. I sort of think 9 isn't really doing anything overly impulsive or overly risky. It's just, might not amount to much, obviously, but keeps the pressure on Zombie Boys. Unfortunately for, X-Force, Zombie Boys still very, very much in this next zone shift. Basically, the only teams forced out of their current position would be Dauntless, 0-2, and I guess not at this point, but straight out of Nepal did have to do a northbound. Well, there it is. There's the knock. What are they going to do with this is my question. Like, what can you do with this? Looks like he was trying to get up on the rooftop, maybe hit the high ground to peek through the window. No chance. And that's kind of the case in point that I was making is, I mean, if this is an altercation that can't be committed to, I'm not sure if it's worth their time, but I don't really see it being altogether problematic or, just because it's Sandhawk. But that's literally the only reason. If this wasn't Sandhawk, if this was a Miramar match, I wouldn't be feeling anywhere near comfortable with that. That would be devastating to their in-game resources. Okay. Well, nothing else happening yet on the playing field. It does look like we might have a potential altercation brewing with a little bit of waterway between them, between Dauntless and Masters. But obviously, the closest proximity would be X-Force and Rare, but Rare is just in his own world. I mean, the meme potential here is so good. And so we're left here with a somewhat rare situation. Not rare, but lesser occurring on Sandhawk, you know, where it's just a whole zone of downtime. As these teams wait for the zone shift, wait to see where they need to migrate to, rotate to. But we could have something brewing as Leon of Straight Outta Nepal kind of driving around scouting, hearing the shots from X-Force. Probably not going to drive up there on his lonesome. Well, Leon getting a nicely placed knock, and with the opportunity to quickly push on it as well. But it is they're going to be the ones who spot the freebie Rare, and can Leon push up, doing so very, very aggressively, just going right through the vulnerable space here, kind of battling through the lines of fire to try to secure this thirst, and boy, they barely made it out of that alive. Leon clinging to about 1/4 of his overall health. Nexus, their final hope, you know, their coin in the back pocket, as Aces and Wolf are knocked down to the prone zone. Gonna be on Leon to play paramedic here. All the while, now the zone shift once again circling around the boot camp and favoring Zombie Boys, who for yet another zone do not have to rotate an inch. We got Rain Esports doing some third partying, I'm believing. Oh no, yes, it is third partying onto none other than Dauntless, as Claus finds himself with his hands full of a full team of Masters Esports, let alone having to account for the third party shots inbound in the distance. This is a tough one. The rain's falling, but it is hurting nonetheless. Claus getting rained on by a frag grenade right there, and then Aurora down for the count potentially. Moving across with XP3 as the final two hopes here for Dauntless, with only one elim to their name. Something is going to happen soon. They're going to have to make their final stand, and it's either going to come out kind of alleviating their elim count, or they are back to lobby and going to have to bite this one as a loss. Claus taking more nade damage before the jump shot from Phoenix. Nicely done. Phoenix quickly falling back to the safety of the compound cover to try to heal up, while Trick sees if he can add on to what they started, and it looks like it is inbound for a third and maybe even a fourth party opportunity. And yes, Coops in the distance, the last hope for 0-2, just putting a slaughterhouse hailstorm of M4 shots, making the 5.56 rain down on Masters Esports. Quick knocks, and will it amount to much of a thirst? Turns out the knock he got was actually much closer. It was a member of Straight Outta Nepal, Nexus. That's who he knocked, and he quickly reoriented his attention to potentially add on to that by snagging a potential third party from the boys in Masters. Now working himself up to his 5th elim, and obviously the team's 5th as well. They are thankful to have Coops here up and about, giving him not only the 3 slots of placement points that he's already claimed, but 5 elims to add on to it. As we know him to be, the KOOPS can be a one-man army. Okay, so we're hearing shots in the distance. It's Rain, and I bet you Rain doesn't have the slightest clue about what's about to happen. So we're just gonna zone in to see if it happens. And a little bit of context goes a long way. Rain just climbing upwards for a wide flank. You thought that they were gonna be pushing right into SON. They caught wind and tried to fall back, which was probably a bit impulsive because that they were going to have to battle for the high ground if they wanted a shot of really having a fair fight with SON, as it was. And to turning their back on the enemy and traveling back towards a lesser advantageous positioning. Well, it's in zone, and it's got compound cover. I mean, still, the advantage point clearly is going to SON's high ground, but a little bit of context goes a long way. They've got a spread going here. It looks to be, I'm not even going to call it a 2-1 split. I'm going to call it a 1-1-1 split, and it could actually pay off here, especially with Zombie Boys distracting the attention from SON. And boy, Coops, you just see him in his comfort zone. Like, he is not even intimidated. He's just one man flanking towards a full squad that's already fighting another team. All right. Well, Coops gonna be a little sneaky snake here, all the while opportunity just kind of mounting itself up for him. Wolf and Smiley engaging with one another. Coops is literally able to walk right into the compound. Smiley taking the big bad Wolf down to the prone zone, and this is gonna be interesting. They don't even know of his location. I'm curious to see if Coops is going to get some third-party elim steals from the low ground, or if he's going to remain hidden and let these two duke it out and try to get a chicken dinner out of this. So we got 3 teams spread across 6 people. It's a 3v2v1 to end round 3. Hellfire raining out from EBX, and he does not know about Coops. Coops making quick work of him, but in doing so, sacrificing his here is the element of surprise out the window. Now they know he's there. He's going to have a risky stretch out if he is not favored by the zone, but luckily, Pub Jesus has blessed him. And he was given this next one. Still going to be kind of a tough battle. And to say it's an uphill battle, both literally and metaphorically, well, it is. Nades outwards towards Smiley. Oh, my God. Literally, look at this man go. Just sinking battleship. Smiley brought down to half health. If anything, Rainbot could make a great third-party attempt here. Ladies and gentlemen, we got a 1v1v1 to end round 3. A fair fight. Coops, Smiley, and Bot. Gonna go underground, apparently. Trying to switch out. I don't know why it's not letting me. There we go. Sneaky little grass snakes in the jungle. And now it's a battle of patience. And to make matters worse for Zombie Boys and Rain Esports, it's gonna favor Coops. The highest ranked player in North America gets the zone shift in his favor as well, and it's gonna be a cloud of smoke brought down here, and Smiley about to go right into the thick of it. Quick work for Coops, and now we got a 1v1 Bot versus Coops. Can he make it happen as a solo, just absolutely annihilating the playing field? He was a solo early on. We cut to him for the first time on his own with 5 elims, just confidently trotting into a slaughterhouse. I mean, anybody else would have sat still and let everything else happen around him and maybe shot for the last person. But he's Coops and does not die. I just don't get it. You do not see gameplay like this from other players, that at least not effectively. Is not gonna happen. Coops is the outlier performance of North America. That is unreal. That just does not happen. Well done. Chicken dinner to add on to it, 8 elims. that is a one-man army to be feared. Rain Esports falling into silver second place here, and doing so with a very healthy 13 elims. At the end of the day, when you add it up, it's actually a higher point gain than 0-2 was able to get, but that's a full 4-piece versus one man. Zombie Boys in third place. Oh my god, what is that noise? I've got to turn that. Yeah. We got Zombie Boys coming on in to third place here, and doing so with 7 elims. Straight out of Nepal, straight into fourth place with 8 elims. Is that loud? I hope it's not. Oh, you can't even hear it. Good. We got, let's see, Masters Esports, 5th place with 2 elims. Dauntless working their way into 6th with 1. We got X-Force in 7th, doing so with 7, 5 of which go to Remix. Nicely done. Next Element, getting better placement this time, but not really doing much in terms of eliminations. Almost Barry was almost not there at all. The whole team missed it, and Barry, well, disqualified. Team Aces, 10th place with 1. We've got Sailing Esports in 11th with 2, Manic in 12th with 3. We got ZeroFox in 13th with 3, Absolute Pain, 14th with a Big Onion. There's Almost in 15th, but I guess that would technically be 14th overall, but Big Onion nonetheless. And the Emperor has fallen into last place, 0 elims to their name. That is that. And ladies and gentlemen, stick around because we'll be back in just a few short moments with the 4th and final round of the day of the PUBG Mobile Titan Series practice scrims. Be back soon. Alrighty, we are back with our fourth and final round of the PUBG Mobile Titan Series practice scrims. About to conclude the day where it all began, a little old Orangle, the tangle in Orangle. There's not really much to say that I haven't said 300 kashmillion times when we get to this point. So we're just going to save that spiel and focus on where teams are dropping. Hopefully at this point, as these are practice scrims, granted there is cash on the line, but hopefully as these are practice scrims, we might see a little end-of-day aggression from teams who have been underperforming. Maybe some Hail Mary plays, so to speak. But time will tell. Let's go ahead and get into it. I don't hear any in-game sound. Let me see why that is. Because I muted it. Because of the music. That's right. All right. Well, we're dealing with not the most ideal flight path if you're participating in the event, but you know, at this point, 7 years into PUBG Mobile Esports, if you haven't memorized every square inch of Orangle, well, you're probably not paying attention. So we got some early jumpers already. It looks to be X-Force jumping alongside 0-2 in Absolute Pain. It's going to be a contestation for Yaz Naya, potentially. As I say that, I'm starting to wonder if 0-2 intends to stay, but I think they do. So a little further down south, we might have another potential altercation. It would be down in the Milta quadrants, and very likely between members of Straight Outta Nepal and Masters. So we're going to actually tune into that to start off with. And I'm going to get that highlighter out of the old folders here so I can start doing my old routines. Oh, burn! Hit him with that big yellow circle. Alright, I think I just saw something in the feed. Yep, it's Lil Fox Sir getting a takedown of his own. I'm trying to remember. Lil Fox, isn't he... No, I'm wrong. Empreror Esports in the mix here. Well, themselves up against Zombie Boys with a quick takedown on Kaz. He's going to be leaving things in the hands of Lar and third now pulling up to the mix as Lar and Nameless both taken down, and now the last one standing is Fox, and he is going to have to make his final stand here. Gonna cook up a frag. It could actually be a, you know, if he places it right, could have been 1v2, but the hesitation probably actually probably the right call here. If they didn't hear him come in, he might be able to secure this revive. They clearly have, and bailing on the revive, ultimately it probably would have been a successful one, but most of the risk was already made, but he somehow escapes it, and you never know. I mean, gonna try to make use of these frags now. I feel like the time to strike was when they were both in that small closet there, or small room. Regardless, Sadra pulling up to the party with less than 5% overall health. Sadra, you have my attention, sir. Alright, a little bit of gas can preemptive explosions, making sure that they don't have that coin in their back pocket. No easy 1v2 explosions in the mix here, ideally. Sadra in what is... I don't know. You know what? I'm just not staying. At that point, I'm not staying. No. Nexus down for the count here. Spence, the last hope, swimming in a pool of Masters Esports, and trouble has found its way to him, and boy, the dad jokes are raining like gold tonight as Trouble pushes forward with an S18 in hand, AK-47 as well, and barely making it over that fence. Spence laying some bullets out, and when I say barely, I stand corrected as he is barely taking damage from it, and Phoenix able to work his way up the other end, leaving Spence in a peanut butter and spoon sandwich, and boy, somehow the deli is, but ultimately the trick's on you, my friend, and boom goes that. So, working our way back up north here, we still have some contestation between the zombie boys and their opponents, pardon me, in Sailing Esports. We got Flicks doing some hardcore parkour here, getting this off angle, potentially a surprise angle that they may not expect, probably will expect at this point. It's not really a hidden strat, so to speak. And that was probably not necessary to eliminate yourself in practice scrim, but hey, be toxic all you want, right? That's cool. Fox is still alive? What is happening? I'm so glad I switched away from this, because we could have been here for, 2-3 straight minutes and nothing would have happened. Well, man's pretending that it's 2022 or 2021 and the punch glitch is still a thing, as he sneakily makes his great escape that no one is trying to stop him from. 0-2 up in the mix with none other than the boys in X-Force. Now this is a fight worth watching. Hitting teams today. Coops, the one-man army. Well, now he's got two of the boys here with him, and the squad came in 3-piece deep, ready for blood in round 4. So where is it gonna go? What's gonna be the move? Is it gonna be a battle of patience here? I think it could be, as Free Point trying to hold off the opposition, and any preemptive nades could be absolutely huge. Free Point swallowing damage, and somehow it's like they know. But Free Point with the S18, quick work with the shot. Just unbelievably fast reflexes. Now, a 2v2, a fair fight. It's Coops and Baton versus Free Point 999. And Coops is down by the DBS. And all of a sudden, the tides have turned onto Baton. And oh, this is going to spell trouble if he is not able to pull something out of his hat. Oh my goodness. 999 jumping one floor down, catching the window ledge, working his way in, and doing some work onto the boys in 0-2. And that is impressive. Nicely done, X-Force. That was impressive. All right. Two odd little congestion zones here, because the zone has been a bit odd. Shifting and still quite a bit of water there, but gonna leave a panic factor for Masters Esports, Sailing, Manic, what remains of Emperor, which is just Fox, absolute pain. All of these teams, X-Force, almost there, all these teams, with exception to 2, are going to have to find their new real estate, migrate south for the winter. And it looks like Rain going to try to occupy the wrong bridge. Maybe they were planning for a bridge camp, but that zone shift is not going to leave it to be much. So I guess actually, that bridge camp could be potentially genius if you're trying to think one step ahead of the opposition. I guess if you're not looking for the smoke, the clear move would be to take the lesser utilized bridge with that zone. But think about it. It's round 4. There's cash on the line in several different, aspects of winning. So I think, for the remainder of this match, I would expect a lot of teams to be pretty kill hungry. And I think we're about to see 1v4. Can he make it happen with the S12? The answer is no, but Kitty Lover, Serums, and Bot will carry on his name. And it looks like Bot actually doing some work of his own in the distance with the 4x combo, putting a Dauntless. Looks like he did secure a knock. Serums probably going to try his best to add on to it. Looks like he's not quite at point of cover yet, so it might still happen. All the while, Sailing Esports having a little battle of their own. themselves up against the likes of Manic. And this is interesting. Manic kind of not sure where to allocate their resources, deciding to push all of them towards Zendry and Chris here. But that leaves Junior with that off angle and a building all to himself to scout their floors, scout all the information. Looks like actually Master Eagle is coming into trouble with S18 in hand. We've seen what he can do with it. Itachi, one building over, jumping in with a Scar Elf, ready to swarm on. But boy, look at Trouble swarming in from every which way. And this time, it's going to be Absolute Pain coming in to join the party. We've got an absolute slaughterhouse happening in one building. It's a kill box. We got Absolute Pain, Sailing Esports, Masters Esports, all coming in for the fun. Empreror is down for the count. Miel, very easy to follow potentially if he's not able to get this heal off. Aether is downed. Hollow has got to be the cover point here. You've got to take the distraction on Miel kills. And he is facing trouble head on. Shotgun v shotgun. S18 v S12. Miel not able to heal, but instead being taken down. Hollow, the final hope for Absolute Pain, and brought down to the prom zone, and back to the lobby he goes. 999 coming in, hearing the shots, and like sharks in the water, smelling the blood, coming in for any potential third-party elims that might be on the table. Any easy scraps. Get some great damage in on Trouble, but not enough to take him down to the prone zone. And it's like it never happened. He's back in the building healing. And you got to think about it. X-Force and Masters still have to work their way into zone, but this zone is so huge for only having 20 people. I think that they've got a good reason for waiting. Dauntless finally... Oh, I guess it was Rain Esports who had the bridge and working their way into this new zone. It's going to be Dauntless occupying this new one. I think that this bridge might potentially be a make or break position point for Dauntless. It could really favor well if it does go favor into the lower end, the military island. But if it favors the top end, or pardon me, if it favors the top end, then they would only have to bridge camp one team versus the likes of 5 teams coming in, 6 teams coming in, all at once, potentially. It would be a risky play. I think they saw that, dipped out a bridge, probably didn't even expect anyone to push it. At that point, Rain hadn't crossed. They probably didn't expect anyone there. So we got ourselves a showdown between Serums, the last hope for ZeroFox, up against 2 members of Dauntless, XB3 and Hope. And does it happen? Serum not able to get a knock there, doing a little bit of damage out there with that nade. Not enough, but shot down to below half health himself and making his final stand here on the stairs. The DBS sounds the same in every language, and it is not a fun word. I think that thing needs to go back in the crate. 5 elims to Dauntless. And now down to 5 teams spread across 16 people. Rain Esports finding themselves outside of the zone, having to work their way across the bridge. Everyone has, held the bridge at some point today, but not really been able to actually have any confrontation on it. No bridge camps have been successful. Rain, if anything, needs to get off that bridge. Will I take that back? I'm not sure. That bridge could actually be a camping point, if they wanted. But EBX probably tipping their location away to the opposition of Dauntless, unintentionally as it is. Dauntless is working their way around, and let's see if Bama Boys is going to be able to take this one on. What just happened? Bama Boys somehow able to get on the buggy, and as he tries to make his escape, it is all for naught. But EB holding the back angle of the bridge, it does prove advantageous. But Claus, in a hovercraft ship rotation, spots Wang, a little fish in the water, and the boy came to fish with a DBS. That is not fair. What? No. There's no way that was intentional. Claus literally boarding the hovercraft, thinking that he might be able to get like a run over or something, but in that brief second, Wang was able to creep towards. But Wang now, rather than taking the rock and trying to shoot back, he realizes that there is a lot of opposition of Dauntless here. Uses that little crevice there, this hiding spot, if anything, that I didn't know about. And Wang versus Claus is going to happen right here and now. Hovercraft versus person. This is some straight up Bruce Willis hop on the moving vehicle, punch the driver in the face attempt. This is going to be insane. 2 hovercrafts out here fishing. What? And look at this. They got 2 eyes in the sky. EB is down. This is so ridiculous. Well, you know what he's going to do. He's going to let himself drown out and not give that elim point to Dauntless. Understand, I guess, practice scrims as they are. He realizes that the odds of actually doing much work there are slim. So, makes sense. But now, working our way back north, we're almost now just down to Wiz alone in a 1v3, potentially a 1v4 if Masters is able to secure the revive on their fallen teammate. I don't see Wiz trying to push that. If he's got any sense of brain about this, I doubt that he would do that. He is taking note of Itachi's flank rotation, trying to catch that off angle, or maybe just scout. Regardless, it does add a panic factor for Wiz. And Dauntless, with no one to worry about, able to creep their way into the zone with a bit of an opportunity here to just let these 2 teams fight it out and maybe even come in. If Wiz is able to do any damage on to Masters Esports, Dauntless might be able to steal some of that gain from him. And if not, if they're able to take out Wiz, then Dauntless will take the free placement point climb. But take a look at this. Aurora says, no, we are making our presence known from the get-go. And Claus, the off-angle outlier, coming forth like his Diddy Kong racing in a hovercraft. And boom, showing up to the party. Molly's out. The flames have fallen here. And now Trouble finds himself in a bit of trouble as well. Claus going to keep that utility, raining some hellfire down, this time aimed outwards towards Phoenix, not quite hitting the mark. Ready to, he's got more where that, he's got 4 more nades where that came from. Boy came back pockets and a lot of nades. Phoenix falling right down into the flames right there. Walked right into the line of fire. Basically sacrificed himself on the platter for nothing. But now, Claus, the off-angle holder, might be the one to finish the job. Hope, the final outlier, the coin in the back pocket if things go wrong. This is a well-played push here by Dauntless and deservingly of gain this building. Nicely done. Well executed. I will say, it looks like Dauntless did lose 1 member in the process potentially here. I believe they were just a 4-piece. But at this stage, losing 1 member, they're fine. It's a 1v4 or 1v3. Wiz, with all the pressure riding on his shoulders, it would take one of the most impressive turnarounds here. We've seen magic happen. We've even seen Coops do it to several teams tonight, but that does not make it normal. Hey, Alexa, shush. All right. Well, this is interesting because Wiz, very well aware that he is one of 2 remaining teams, knows that it's a 1v3. So, he's got 1 real shot to utilize that element of surprise. And on top of that, he's got about 180 seconds on the clock where that stream is going to catch up to his hiding spot. So, looks like that really just happened. Dauntless sacrificing the building to go out hunting. Not very patient here, and understandably so. They got the numbers in their favor. They triple the opposition. Why not just go out hunting? Even if they lose a member in the process, it saves them a lot of hassle of waiting for these stages to conclude. And what they didn't expect is, you know, the second they head out, that flank in from behind, now he's where you were. And that's probably the one building that they're not expecting to check. They're not expecting him to be in. Probably about 150 seconds left of safe time here in this building before the stream catches up to it. Even then, we might not have someone from Dauntless watching. It could happen. I mean, hey, maybe shut up. What's it gonna be? Well, you can only hide and hide and hide so much, but what are you doing, Wiz, if you're not going to actually take some shots? No one else to wait it out. Again, fight these guys or die to these guys. There's no other option. Or kill yourself with the Dade, I guess, but I mean, come on. Does everyone got to be toxic about it? I get in weighted, you know, outcome events why it's very strategically important, but this is a little magic happened there with the S12, evening the odds just a little bit. Now what was an unlikely handicap match gets cast a curse, and the wizard is naded. A little bit of hellfire. Beautiful conclusion to that, and a pissed off Dauntless coming through for a chicken dinner dub finish, in doing so with 12 elims to add on to the mix. This is Dauntless in full form. Love to see it. Almost there. Not really. And here's why. Almost there. Thankful that Wiz was able to bring them all the way up to the second place bracket for placement points. 1 elim to add on to it as well. So I don't know how early on Wiz was brought down to a solo, but he got the placement points. He got an elim. I mean, I don't know really what more you should expect from the solo. You saw Coops, but that, again, that's not normal. We got Masters coming in third, and now this is an impressive performance, like especially in context to second place. Masters coming in, getting that bronze medal, but doing so with 15 elims. Oh, wait. Bad math. 14 elims on the board. That is for sure a huge point gain over second place. And while it's not going to be a bigger point gain than Dauntless, it is certainly a lot closer to that than Almost is ever going to be in this last match. So Empreror in fourth, 6 elims. Lil Fox responsible for 5 of the team 6. That's a pretty heavy backpack, but good work on your end. Rain Esports 5th place, but a big old onion for elims. We got ZeroFox in 6. X-Force in 7th with 3, and all 3 are going to go to 999. Really impressive final stand there. That, or I guess not even a final stand. 999 up against, I think it was 02 with the window ledge, drop down to the next floor, catch the window ledge, jump through the window, DBS them. Very nicely done. Lot of potential there. We got Sailing Esports coming in 8th place and doing so with 9 elims. Not bad. Absolute pain. 1 elim going to Empreror. I think it might have been them that our boy did 999 did that too. I could be wrong. Manic in 10th, and it's going to be with 1 elim only, and that's going to Vortex. O2 in 11th place with 2 kills to Juancho. I mean, I'm just sure of it. O2 is just playing around. There's just no other way. Aces, 12th place, getting it with 3. Godlin and Sadra. Zombie Boys, 13th place, but with 0 elims. SON in 14th with 0. And lastly, Next Element in 15th and last place with 0 as a 2-piece. Well, that's going to be that, ladies and gentlemen. That will conclude the Titan Series practice scrims here for the night. I'm not sure if I am supposed to be waiting for the winning results here. So tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to cut away to a intermission scene, play a thank you screen, some highlights for a minute or two, find out if we're showing the final overall scores here. And if not, I hope you all have a great night. Have fun. Be safe. Be kind to one another. GG's.